Welcome back guys to another time-lapse episode of the Factorio Let's Play. So today we will actually talk a bit about the future of Factorio. Yeah, before that, just a bit of what you are seeing here now today. I'm not really 100% sure because I recorded one of these time lapses every day, and then I just went along like that for 4 days consecutively. Is that a word? I'm not really sure, but 4 days in a row basically. Yeah, I think I'm just only building railway today, so that's hopefully fun to watch. Yeah, in the last video I talked a bit about my plans for 017 content, and in general a bit about 017 and a little bit about content in the future on the channel. But today I'm going to talk a bit about the future of Factorio, because that's also really interesting, because we're now actually getting to a pretty interesting point in the game development, because Factorio is going to be having its 1.0 big release coming out of the alpha or beta or whatever they currently consider it to be in. That will be soonish, or at least we have a plan of the developers we know of, and that's maybe still end 2019, probably early 2020. We'll see. We'll have to see. Yeah. But yeah, the 1.0 release won't mean that the game development is finished and they won't do anything anymore on the game. That will just much rather mean that they think that at that point the game is ready for prime time basically. So it's fully stable, running nicely, has all the features in that are great and they want to have in from the get-go and whatnot. Yeah, but it's maybe they're going for a similar thing as with Minecraft, where you have just your release upon release upon release at a certain time interval, which would be great in my opinion. Depending on how those updates look like, and depending on how the content of those updates look like, and how they might change and affect the game and everything. But yeah, I kind of like that aspect about Minecraft, where you just have to there's always a new update coming out at some point, and you have your preview versions of that, and you can look into that, and you can get all excited, at least in theory. Yeah, actually with Minecraft it was also very similar. You had your stuff before alpha, then you had alpha, then you had beta, and then the full release, which was back in, I don't know, 2011, 2012 or something. And since then they are still going strong and still pumping out new updates to the game. Yeah, for better or for worse, you have to say. That's the thing about Minecraft. At some point I lost interest, 1.8, 1.9, around that time I think. And it was also the time when the new combat system came out, which just was a massive change, which wasn't really liked by a lot of people, including myself, in a way. Yeah, and maybe Factorio is going to be a game like Minecraft at some point, where it's just there are still updates coming out, but you're not really sure if you should like the new update or not, if you think it's going into the right direction or whatnot. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe for a game development studio, maybe it's also sometimes great to have a cut and make a new game or whatever. But I mean, only time will tell basically. So yeah, 1.0 release will be the big thing. Until then, there's not a lot to do still. So on their website, when you go to factorio.com/content, you will actually able to see a bit of all their what they're calling current content, what's already in the game basically. And under work in progress, before 1.0, they only have polishing in it, which might mean that's a thing that is maybe happening fairly fast even, who knows. So maybe still 2019, we will see. But yeah, polishing, so they say, well, Factorio has a lot of content, sure, but it's quite rough around the edges. And there are plenty of little details they still want to solve. They have in there improved the GUI and user experience, which they're basically now doing with 017. Balanced parts of the gameplay, polish the graphics, yeah. Tweak the campaign, the list goes on for a while, yeah. So there's still quite a bit of stuff they want to do, and they already did a little bit of that now in 017, like probably even a big chunk of that with like the redoing of the GUI and whatnot. I mean, they also tweaked the science recipes a little bit, so they make a little bit more sense now. So yeah, and that's probably what's going to happen for 1.0. Like they're just going to tweak some little stuff, adding some little features here and there, and just polishing the game. But then there's also like the section possible future content, which sounds super exciting, to be honest. So there are like a couple things in here that I want to talk about a little bit. So for one, they have like space platforms, build and launch space platforms that can travel to asteroids or other planets. So that is like a pretty huge kind of update. Would go into like a space engineer's direction a little bit, which would be cool. The platform would be a factory within a limited amount of space. Use the platforms to mine exotic resources from asteroids, supply goods to trade stations, or land on new planets. But beware, space is full of threats. Yeah, I mean, it's like would be like a big thing. I could possibly think about something like that as like a DLC, like 2-3 years down the road or something, because that would essentially be like a massive overhaul for the entire game. Essentially, that's what it would be, in my opinion, because yeah, it's definitely like a very big extension to gameplay and everything, but I can actually think that this might be pretty fun, depending on like obviously how they're doing that. Yeah, but something in that direction would be pretty great, because now you have like the rockets that you launch to sort of finish the game, but like what's the point in it really? Like what kind of benefit does this give you? I mean, sure, now you get like your space science out of that somehow. I mean, sure, like you're launching satellites, and in return you get like science and research, whatnot. It kind of makes a little bit of sense, but actually, like the last point also goes into like possibly a similar direction. Yeah, but just like expanding to space in general would be great. But it just like kind of raises the question then, like, why would you want to do that? I mean, like they write about some exotic resources, but that would like imply totally new like production chains and whatnot. Yeah, could be like a pretty big thing for like maybe a DLC or something like that direction. Or like alien interaction would also be another point of that list. If you are nice to them, they are nice to you. Keep the pollution low, and you can learn about the planet inhabitants. Maybe even trade or cooperate with them, or just take advantage of them. Catch them, study them in research facilities so you can come up with better ways to deal with them. In my opinion, alien interaction as a thing wouldn't make a ton of sense to me, because like they're just such like primitive creatures that are like just there, like just bugs, you know, like they're just like around, and they don't seem to have like any form of like culture or whatever. And I mean, we had something that had to do with aliens, because right now they're just like combat, they're just like a stupid thing you have to fight every day. But in the earlier days, I think like 014 and before that, you had to kill them to get like alien science. No, you got like those alien coins or whatever that was. And then you could make that into like alien science or whatever. So yeah, you got like an actual benefit of killing them, but that's not a thing anymore today. I mean, now thinking about Minecraft again, like a bit of a like experience XP system would maybe also work with them. Yeah, because right now they're just boring, you know, like aliens are boring. So it's definitely a great idea to like overhaul them in the future. Maybe like an XP system, but what would you use that XP for? Honestly, like, I mean, going to Minecraft again, like enchantments and stuff. Maybe like using XP. I mean, that would be actually a great idea. Maybe like using XP or whatever, or something like a drop from aliens to do research that increases like stuff about your character, like walking speed, strength, crafting speed, stuff like that. Also maybe like a little bit is like infinite science kind of deal, but also like getting very expensive very fast, so you would have to kill a lot of aliens, but that might actually be like a bit of a reward you could get back, like personal science, I don't know, like something that just improves your personal ability to do stuff. Because that's also like the problem I have with the main game, like after like the base game, the vanilla unmodded game, that like very fast after you launch like your first couple rockets, like very fast you're just underpowered, like your power armor isn't able to keep up with you. You can't like really have a ton of like personal robots in there, like you can't just go anywhere and just build a massive factory out of blueprints instantly from like construction bots. Or you can't like have like crazy defense and crazy like laser turrets and stuff like that. Yeah, so maybe like personal research in a way that would solve that a little bit from drops from aliens would be pretty great. RTS elements. In the late game you have this monstrous factory full of machines, trains and flying robots, but you're still a guy running around on your own. Yeah, that's kind of my problem as well. Wouldn't it be cool if you could get into your command center and just give orders to your building and combat drones? I mean, from a map view, you can also already build quite a bit of stuff, actually, if you think about it. You can like place blueprints, you can like use deconstruction planners and everything. But I'm not sure if like something like a command center would actually be like in... It would be like a massive game-changing thing, basically. After like you launch your rocket or whatever, like maybe some crazy expensive research, like say 10,000 of each science or whatever, including space science. But yeah, maybe that would be a little bit boring, you know, because like walking around on one hand is like cool, but on the other hand, you yourself are a little bit underpowered for now, still. But I guess you could do something cool around that. Moving underground. So you have tamed the surface of the planet, but how about going below the ground? Yeah, that sounds also interesting. I think like definitely for something like mining, like mining operations that are underground would be pretty cool, and having like trains that come out of underground, I think that might be like very difficult to build into like a 2D game, like a sense of like layers that are interconnected in a way that makes sense. I mean, sure, you can always have like a ladder that goes down and up and up and down and whatnot, but like a train, for example, that goes up and down, I'm not really sure. And having like just a second factory layer below your factory where you can like transport items and between the two or something would be interesting as well, but might kill the challenge as well. So that's also a bit of an issue about that. And as the last one, food industry. Now you are alone, but there might be colonists coming here. Better prepare to grow some food for them, or maybe feed the biters trapped in your research facilities. Also, how about using biofuels, bioplastics for your factory? Yeah, like in general, like more like bio stuff would be really cool. Like maybe growing like trees and having like a use for wood. Just I think stuff like that in general could be pretty beneficial to the gameplay. growing food. I mean, having to eat suddenly now would be a massive change to the entire gameplay, probably. I mean, on the other hand, if I think about Minecraft and mod packs there again, with like Tech It and whatnot, like you had this power armor mod, I think, which also had like an auto feeder, so as long as you have like food in your inventory, like you get the food feeded automatically, which I mean, that something like that could work in Factorio as well. Like you always have to have your food with you. Yeah, but on the other hand, that's just like, I don't know, wouldn't make, like, there's no real benefit to that. Probably like making food would be like another thing that makes the early game a little bit more stuffed and full, probably, which would be a problem for new players maybe, because that's getting a little bit weird. I don't really know about food actually, if that's a good idea. The other thing that's in there is like with colonists and stuff. Again, you have to ask the question like why? Like why would you want colonists coming along? Or like what would be their kind of benefit? You know, I mean, sure, like building like a food production and I don't know, maybe like some buildings for living and some entertainment or whatever would be really cool. Like going into like, I don't know, like a City Skylines crossover in the end or whatever. But that also kind of would like completely change up the entire landscape of the game in the end game basically. And yeah, I mean, the sense of the game is kind of just like grow your factory. That's like the whole thing about the game pretty much. And like, what does colonists, where do they help? I mean, you're like building the factory and then everything's like fully automated. Like that's the entire point of the thing, that you don't have to have anyone running the whole thing, only like to upgrade and expand and maybe like maintain parts of it. Yeah, like in general, maybe like a trade system would be great. Like, I don't know, like I thought about that already, like an economy system. Like you could be selling stuff to like other colonists, maybe even on the same planet, who knows? Or with like some space doodads, or like back with the Earth or whatever. And having kind of like this economy kind of thing. Yeah, because like right now you're producing stuff to make more research, right? Like that's just a loop in itself basically. And if you have like this kind of more dynamic approach to it with like economy, where you have like lots of stuff that you can make to sell, like electronics products, for example, like make a phone, and you have like your production stuff for that and your factory for that, and then you can sell, I don't know, phones. But then maybe like their value drops over time, and then you have to like say, hey, making phones isn't really like bringing a lot of money anymore. Let's just do laptops or whatever. Yeah, so you have to kind of like build out different factories to kind of sell stuff, you know, with like new items and like new production chains and factories. That would be really an interesting idea, definitely. But the thing again would be like, what do you do with the money? Because now you have maybe like a bunch of money, but where's the reason behind that? Yeah, maybe just for general like trade, like you can like also buy raw goods and stuff. But that again, like, it's like making more money to make more money, essentially. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think we'll have to see how they might or might not implement different things of these things in the future, if there are like new ideas popping up. If you have maybe ideas for stuff that should be added in the future, then definitely add those in the comments down below. Maybe we can do like a follow up and discuss over some of that stuff. Would be really interesting. And yeah, so in general, I think that's it for today. So thank you for watching, guys. See you on the next one. Until then, have a great time. Bye bye.